Get a haircut, buttercup!
In that moment, I watched that skinny boy transform into a superhero.
Yeah, it impacted him so much from the way that you look at Captain Marvel Jr. and you see his black hair with the curl coming down. Also, the whole idea of a superhero being somebody who often is coming from nothing, or they have this big tragedy, that then they are gifted this power that hopefully, I mean, a superhero is positively impacting other people. And so that whole, that archetype, I mean, that's him. Where he comes from dirt poor, doesn't even have running water or a toilet in the house. And his father goes to prison at a very young age. He's born in the midst of tragedy, which is his twin brother not being alive when he comes out of his mother's womb. And then suddenly Elvis is born as this miracle right after Jesse. There's so many of those themes that it's no wonder Elvis really resonated with Captain Marvel Jr., you know?
I mean, he says it, there's some real footage of him. And at the end he says, when I was a kid, I used to read the comic books and dream that I was the superhero in those comic books. Now, if you go down to Tupelo, where I went down to, I'm here in Graceland. I was here 5 years, I started here 5 years ago on research. There's a little museum down there, and in it is in fact his Captain Marvel Jr. comic. You can see it, and it's well worn. And then you think of the lightning bolt, and you think of the capes that he wore. And I think that there was something of the savior about Elvis, meaning, you know, the shame of the father in jail, and growing up in the black community, the whole feeling of like moving constantly forward, searching, but also trying to make things right again, losing his mum, always trying to, that's a superhero gesture. And in a way, he was a superhero because what he could do to an audience, you know. Now, sometimes that can, in the bubble that he was put by the Colonel, it can screw with your head too, but.
I think, and I'll give it up to the conversation I had with both Jerry Schilling of the Memphis Mafia and Priscilla herself, that said Elvis did have this sense of himself that was to be larger than life, in that he felt invincible when he was singing. He felt totally natural. He felt like himself when he was performing songs, singing songs, particularly in front of, you know, a live audience. And who isn't going to be altered by that reaction that somebody like Elvis got from that? But it wasn't just because he was famous and he was Elvis. It's because he delivered unto the audience something that only he could. And so there is that aspect. I mean, look, every superhero has very specific, you know, powers. X-ray vision, can run fast, you know, has a ring that does magic stuff for him. Elvis had that, you know. Elvis had some brand of superpower that nobody else could imitate.
There's a lot of people saying a lot of things, but in the end, you gotta listen to yourself.
In that moment, Elvis the man was sacrificed, and Elvis the God was born.
I'm gonna show you what the real Elvis is like tonight.
If you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place.